Hey everybody, this is Isaac Clark, and I am back with week 6 of interactive presentations. And so this week we've been learning about nuclear energy, nuclear fission, fusion, and so we get to learn about nuclear weapons today. Now, fortunately, we're not building a nuclear weapon or anything, because personally I don't want to be handling those materials, but instead we get to do a presentation on how these nuclear weapons work. So let's kind of get started and begin covering the topic here. So nuclear weapons are weapons that create nuclear energy by the use of nuclear fission or nuclear fusion in order to produce a large explosion. So I know sometimes we hear about nuclear weapons, especially during the Cold War. We've all taken a history class. So during the Cold War, tensions between Soviet Union and the United States were tight, and a large production of nuclear weapons were produced at that time. So these weapons require unstable elements and isotopes in order to create large chain reactions. And so you can kind of see the images over here, kind of how some of those reactions occur. They use different techniques, and we'll cover them individually throughout this presentation. And the power of nuclear weapons is measured in kilotons or megatons of TNT. So we're familiar with TNT being an explosive, and so what that means is it may take a certain amount of kilotons of TNT to produce an equivalent amount of energy or explosion to represent the size of an explosion of a nuclear weapon. Hope that kind of makes sense to you. I kind of worded it a little weird. And aside from explosion, another thing you have to worry about with these nuclear weapons is radiation, because you cannot see radiation. I don't believe you can taste it, but you can feel it, and it causes long-term damage, and it sticks around for a long time. It's not something that lasts 2 or 3 days. We're talking years and decades, so it's really hard to get rid of radiation, and it causes long-term effects, generations worth of effects on people and their health. So let's first talk about atomic bombs here. So an atomic bomb will utilize nuclear fission to produce an explosion. It requires large masses of concentration of fissile material. So those are typically called a critical mass in the bomb. So you need about 4 or 5 critical masses in order to produce an explosion that you need um, at the size of explosion that they're looking for. So here on the right, you kind of see uranium-235 fission, how that works. So it requires heavy unstable elements and isotopes such as uranium-235 or plutonium-239. So uranium-235, we kind of learned about that a little bit, but essentially you take a neutron, slam it into 235, and it causes the nuclei to split, and it also releases 3 additional neutrons. So then those neutrons are released to also cause collisions and split more of the uranium-235 nuclei. And this causes a chain reaction to occur, and on a very large scale, you get large amounts of energy released. And so that's kind of where the explosion happens. It's just a very, very large scale uh, uranium fission. And some examples of these kind of bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man during World War II. This picture down here kind of gives some information about it. So Little Boy was dropped on Hiroshima, and it was a uranium bomb, used the bullet type design or the gun type that you see over here on the right with this picture. And it was a uranium bomb using uranium-235, and it produced 15,000 kilotons of TNT. So meaning 15,000 tons of TNT were required to produce the same explosion that Little Boy generated. Okay? And then Fat Man over here was dropped on Nagasaki, and it was a plutonium 239 bomb, and it produced 21,000 kilotons of TNT. So They both kind of use a different design, but produce an explosion. As you can see on the right, the illustration of plutonium bomb. Using the implosion technique, you can kind of see the critical masses is in the core, and 5 or 6 of the reactions outside of the core cause it to compress, and then eventually triggers an explosion there. Okay, now let's move on to hydrogen bombs here. So hydrogen bomb uses thermonuclear fusion rather than fission to create an explosion. And it requires elements such as deuterium, tritium, but most of them use lithium as their main element here. And for these bombs to work, they require an integrated nuclear device. Kind of works as a detonator, but it'll trigger that chain reaction and that thermonuclear energy that's required to start the explosion in these type of bombs. So that's kind of illustrated in the top right corner. You'll see in that photo. This photo has been used in each slide just because it's a very good reference here, because it illustrates each type of bomb and gives a little facts about them just to explain how they work. So hydrogen bomb, you can see right there at the very top, kind of towards the point, you'll see the little sphere. That's kind of your that's your integrated nuclear device. You can see it kind of looks like it's triggering an explosion there. That's going to release the first stage of the explosion, and then which will chain into the second stage, causing the nuclear explosion, the very large explosion. Okay. And so a little fact about hydrogen bombs is there's no limit to the size and destruction that these bombs can cause. So you can build one so big it blows up the moon if you wanted to. You may have to get it to the moon somehow, but just a little fact. And on the right here, you can see kind of the size of certain bombs. So you can see starting with Little Boy and Fat Man, as we covered in the previous slide, those were atomic bombs. You can see they're fairly large explosions, a little higher than Mount Everest, but less than 20,000 feet as far as their cloud goes, right? But you can see on the far right, Tsar Bomba there, that was produced by the USSR, which was Russia and other countries. It's now broken up. But the USSR created Tsar Bomba, which was a hydrogen bomb. And you can see how massive of an explosion that it produces. So you can see the scale of hydrogen bombs compared to the early atomic bombs that were dropped on World War II. Now, luckily, Tsar Bomba wasn't dropped on a country, it was just a test bomb. But imagine if that were used in war. I mean, that's a massive bomb. And that was produced in 1961. So there's just imagine the type of technology that we have today that we can use. I know most of them could be very large. But that was our presentation. I hope you got something out of this. It's very short, but very interesting topic this week. And I thank you all for attending. Goodbye.